This industry is not easy for anyone to break into. I would like consistently message like all these different people who I knew were doing like high level work in the industry. And then Devin Booker, he's an NBA player.
Yeah.
His personal videographer was there too. And then he and I got to chatting. So then when they got this no Lyles thing, they wanted like a third person in. Then that episode drops, and then within like 4 days it hits like 100 million views on our Instagram. I've had so much stuff fall through where they'll like promise you the world and you'll like think this is gonna be like some crazy game-changing opportunity, and then nothing ever comes of it. Sometimes when you're in that kind of high pressure environment where the stakes are like super real, where you really do have to force yourself to learn, otherwise this person's gonna blacklist you forever. You really can't burn out. Like, you don't have a choice, right? Otherwise you get fired.
Welcome back to another episode of the First Act Break podcast, the show where we dive into the art business and hustle of breaking into the film industry. Today we are chatting with a USC director, VFX artist, 3D model artist. His work includes promos for Stephen Curry, Nike, Under Armour, USC Athletics, Coachella, Rolling Loud, Jennie, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, we are pleased to welcome Sanay. Thank you for coming on our show, man.
Of course, thank you guys
Thanks
for having me. Of course.
Sweet. So you've done so many things. I mean, I was looking through your websites. They're all incredible. They always kind of have a style to them in a way. So what do you think makes your work so distinct or unique?
I think it's a combination of a few things. One thing is the style of editing is very unique. Like when I first started out, one of the things that was getting me a lot of work was I had this very unique style of like motion graphics with like this mixed media and like these different kind of glitchy effects.
Yeah.
Which I don't really do as much anymore. But like when you're first starting out, it's important to have like a very distinct style that people will like look and attach to your videos.
Right. How did you come up with that?
I had always been like very passionate about like commercial, like directing work. When I was in high school, my older brother was very into like shoes and sneaker culture. Him and all of his friends were like buying these sneakers online and reselling them. And then I was like, maybe like 9th, 10th grade, and I was seeing him do all this and I was like, wow, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And then I got very into it too. And then as I kind of got into filmmaking, which I really got into over COVID, I wasn't like super into it until then, but then I was just like locked at home with my camera. I used to like walk around for hours just filming like plants, random stuff.
Okay.
I'm sure that like most people who have like gone with the camera
Yeah.
and like kind of fallen in love with it have like loved to spend that time with it.
Yeah.
But as that kind of happened, and then as I kind of got more into like hip hop music and like streetwear culture, as those things started to interest me more, I started leaning into making like these fake Spec ads. So like demo commercials for companies, a lot of them were for Nike back in the day. So the first one I ever made was like 7 seconds long.
Wow. Okay.
And it was the summer before my senior year of high school. And I took this pair of like fake shoes that my brother had bought. It was like this really funny like yellow puffy pair of like Nike Dunks that like online would resell for like $400, and he bought like a knockoff pair for like $60.
Okay.
But they looked really sick. They were like very visually striking.
Yeah.
So I took like a red shoebox. I took like a hose. I wet down like the ground in front of my house, and then I set up like some lights, and then I just shot like a little commercial there.
Nice.
And I put that on Instagram, and then I did like a bunch of creative editing around it too, which I did later that night. And then it got some good traction, and then I was like, wow, this is very interesting. I want to like keep doing it for sure.
Yeah.
And then as that kind of time went on, I was making like different spec ads for like Nike or like different companies. And then, yeah, I just learned more about the software, more about shooting, more about like coming up with creative concepts for commercials as I just made a bunch. Like I just made so many things, like
Wow,
so many
nice.
random things, like random videos for random startups, like random videos, like cooking videos, like shooting random YouTube videos, like hundreds of projects. But I feel like doing all these different things that are so diverse and like meeting all these diverse people kind of gave me a good taste, which I think is something that's very important. It's like, if you can see something and know, oh, this is good, this is what I want to emulate, then you're already like halfway there. Once you get the technical experience to be able to emulate it and bring it to life in your own right, then that's a new skill that you've adopted.
Right.
So then as I like made these commercials, I was like picking up new skills. And then one day I watched like, one of the things that first got me to like wanting to make videos was when I saw the first Spider-Verse movie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so way back in 2018.
Yeah.
And then when the second one came out in 2023, I watched it and I was like super inspired by it. And I wanted to make something themed around it. Because like so much of the first one too, when I was in like 8th grade, my dream pair of shoes was like the OG Air Jordan ones that like Miles was wearing.
Oh,
Because they released those with like that red colorway.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make something similar like that when the second one came out. So then I made this little demo commercial, and that really leaned into like this heavy motion graphic stuff. It was like my first time really going into After Effects. And so that ended up getting me like a lot of work because that was a very unique style. Wow. And so ever since then, I've just been like doing whatever I can get my hands on.
That's awesome. And you mentioned that the thing that you put together for Nike, it was 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Did you always know you're more into like snappy commercials, or did you also try like longer format, like 10-minute or 12-minute short films? Like, how did you find that balance?
I've done a bunch of short films. I used to be big on making documentaries in high school too. I made a couple of documentaries when I went to like India. I made like one about my high school tennis team. I've shot a couple in the years that follow. I just never was like able to fully put them together. But I've always been interested in like every single aspect of it. But I think one thing that I kind of understood early on is like keeping things snappy is usually better. And sometimes if you shoot something, it doesn't need to be like more than what it is.
Yeah.
Essentially, right? Like if I shot it and I was like, this looks good as a 7-second thing, let me put together 7 seconds. And what it does, right? But then I got my experience out of it.
That's awesome.
I mean, when you talk about how when you find what you like and you can emulate it, it's like you're halfway there.
Yeah.
What was the thing that you watched? I mean, you mentioned Spider-Verse, but you were into graphics before Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah.
So what was the things that inspired you to do the graphics stuff mixed in like almost mixed media in your promos?
It's just a lot of different there's this one ASAP Rocky Puma commercial that I was addicted to watching too. There's this one like AirPods commercial that's like, it's this girl walking around some street and it's got The Difference by Toro Yamoy. Have you ever heard that song?
No,
Difference?
I don't think
Okay.
so.
But it's like a really great commercial. So I would just consume all this different media. Like
That's awesome.
I was always on like YouTube. I was always on Vimeo, like just looking at all this different random stuff. Even watching like short films.
Yeah.
Even like stuff you would see in class here. Like there's just so much you can pull from everywhere and then putting your own twist on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of times when a commercial comes up, it's kind of when, we start doing our own thing where we click skip, ad. But what was the thing that drew you to these commercials that made you want to like and study them almost?
I really connected with how they were like made creatively, technically. I like the concepts. I'm like a huge music head, so I usually like all these things like intersect at a very key point, like music, culture, sports, streetwear. And like I've always just wanted to operate within that space.
Nice.
Yeah.
And throughout all your work, some of your most notable ones include Stephen Curry's promo. Can you tell a little bit of backstory on how you made those?
So, well, this goes back to that Spider-Verse thing. After I made that, I was very strategic about it at first too. I would like consistently message like all these different people who I knew were doing like high level work in the industry, getting them to like know my name, know my face. And then when they would like connect with me online, then they would see my work later down the line. And then they'd be like, oh, this is someone who can operate in like a serious capacity. We can bring into a project. So after I posted that Spider-Verse ad, this guy Max, who I'd connected with online, saw that and he was like, oh, I think you would be good to do some VFX for this Under Armour project. And this was in September of 2023. So it was like their Under Armour's like NFL kickoff video. So he brings me onto that, and then we grind out VFX for like 2 days, grind out the edit, like I'm putting together this concept. It was like 2 crazy all-nighters. We put the whole thing together and we turned it in. They love it. It goes up. And then that's kind of how I got connected with Under Armour. They hit me back in, I want to say February later that year. We did another piece that never got released. And then the lady who I worked with at Under Armour, at this point, she and I had like a pretty good relationship. She became the head of marketing at Curry Brand, which is like, because he's signed to Under Armour, it's like their subdivision.
Right.
So when they kind of had these more high level pieces come around, she would contact me and be like, would you be interested in putting together a treatment, like pitching for this? I'd always say yes, of course. So then I would throw together something really quick based on like what the brand guidelines were. Yeah, I would send it over and then they would like it and then put it together. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's crazy.
Have you ever got to like know what, because it's obviously for Curry, right? Do you ever wonder like how he reacts to the editing and everything?
Well, I've met him twice for these projects.
Oh, nice.
He was very chill. I think the first one that we did, I know he really liked because he reposted it on his like story, which is like a big win for them at the company too.
Yeah.
Because his following is like a lot bigger than the brands, and usually whenever an athlete does something like that, or like even an artist, it'll bring like a lot of traction over. So I know he liked them, but what's kind of interesting about doing these like athlete videos especially is that sometimes when you sign like a certain player, you're only allowed to use footage of that player.
Right.
And so with something like basketball, which is so contact heavy, and like there's people running in front of, like, on every direction with the camera angles, you have to get very, very creative about how you edit it, about how you like showcase things, and especially what you don't showcase, because you can't show any other player.
Wow.
That's really interesting.
It's very interesting. But sometimes, like, and again, this kind of goes back into like what I was saying about problem solving, is that itself became like a style of editing. Later that year, they hit me up to do this, before All-Star Weekend, they wanted to like put together these 5 different promos for his plays, like some of the best plays he had this season, like leading up to that weekend. So they sent me all these like huge dumps of footage that I was combing through. And then one of them was like a game that I had also shot. So I knew that like part of it was going to be really hard to show around all the other players.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and then I was like, what if we do this crazy, like weird cutout, like kind of blocky style, where we like make it a grid, we like highlight him, but in like a very geometric way.
Yeah.
And they like didn't really get what I meant, but I had seen it.
Right.
So then I just put it together and I sent it to them. They're like, okay, this is great. This works. And then we do that for like the 5 videos, but in like its own unique way.
That's awesome. Speaking of constraints, how do you go about bringing your own style to the forefront, but also making sure that, you know, you're still aligning your work with the client's needs? Because I feel like, yes, sometimes constraints are really great for creativity, but like you said, sometimes they can also limit. So how do you find your voice within those commercials?
Well, thankfully, kind of the way that I've built my brand has allowed me to, like, when I get brought in on a project, it's because they want me to do like some kind of creative editing, and there will always be like some restriction on what they can and can't show. But usually they want something like with my style, with like some different kind of vibes. And a lot of the times when a client says something, it's like very valid too. People forget that. People are like, oh, very focused on their commercial.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, it's a service for like this company, and they have like a bottom line they got to fulfill. And sometimes when I'll look back at old projects with like other sections, like after the Curry stuff, there was like other like random bits I was editing in that they were like, no, cut that out, no, cut that out. I barely even remember it now because I look at the final piece and I'm like, this is so much stronger and cleaner.
Right.
And again, it goes back to what I was saying about like if something can be 7 seconds then, and it feel like it should be 7 seconds, then make it 7 seconds, but make it like the best 7 seconds ever.
Yeah. I mean, recently you released something is it for Nike, or was that also like a collaboration with the company?
Yeah. A good friend of mine here in LA, he runs like a nice creative studio. One time I was hanging out there, and then Devin Booker, he's an NBA player.
Yeah.
His personal videographer was there too. And then he and I got to chatting, and then he was telling me about this commercial piece that he was doing for the shoe they're about to drop.
Oh, nice.
And it was a stop motion animation of the shoe, like kind of coming out from the earth, being like reformed. They were going to do it in reverse. But the style of the shoe was that like, as you wore it down, the colors kind of changed. They wanted to showcase that. They wanted to showcase like it coming out of the earth.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, let's do it together. And then literally the very next day we go back to the studio. I'm bringing like a bucket of dirt. We like set up a little cyc wall.
Yeah.
And then we kind of stack up the shoe on this mound of like little piece of cardboard. We build like this little dirt mound in front of it. And then we have the shoe sitting like perfectly on top at first. And then we like wear it down a little bit. And we like stink it a little bit, wear it down a little bit. And we do that for like 300-400 frames.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like stop motion.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I put it together, do a little retouching. But yeah, so that ended up on Devin Booker's Instagram. I think they also put it up in some stores, if I remember, because sometimes they get like things like this will get like ingested into the Nike system, where they have like just a big pool of content that they like put. And this for like a lot of different brands.
Yeah.
They had just a giant pool of content that they'll pull on like boards and like stuff that just fits the vibe.
And I saw you did, speaking of other athletes, you did one for Noah Lyles and Justin Jefferson. What were those also like?
So those are very different. So
yeah.
I'll start with Noah Lyles because that was first. So last summer, or maybe when was it? Whenever Rolling Loud was in 2024, I think that was March. This guy who I'd been connected with online, good friend of mine now, his name is Jameson. He goes to the University of Florida, but he's like a very talented director, editor, commercial, like he was very talented. So, I mean, he is very talented.
Yeah.
But he was coming out here to shoot Rolling Loud LA at the same time I was going to go shoot. He and I met over there, and then we just like connected really close. We had like very similar styles. And then after we both shoot the thing together, they put together like an official recap, which they posted based on our footage. But he and I were like, dude, let's just make our own thing.
Yeah.
Because we didn't like the way the official one turned out. So then we put like 3 weeks into it, just grinded out our own recap.
Yeah.
And then we send it to the Rolling Loud team. We don't hear anything back for like 2 months. And then one night I'm in India, and I get a text from him. And he's like, "Oh, did you see they just posted our video?" And I was like, "Oh, what?
Oh,
Really?"
shoot.
Yeah, and they posted it, and they like paid us and everything, credited us. That was like a big moment, but a big win for us too. And so him, this other guy named Jackson, he is from, I want to say Dallas, but he's 19, he's 18, 19. He is like Dude Perfect's like head content creative guy.
Shoot, okay.
The two of them are also good friends who have worked together for a while. So then when they got this No Lyles thing, they wanted like a third person in. Jameson recommended me. He brought me in. They were doing the shoot out in Dallas. So then one day we all just pack up, head out there. We're shooting with Noah for like 2 days. And this was kind of like, we were filming some of his practices, some like other VFX, like plates and stuff. But the main goal was like, he had just gotten done with the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then he was doing like a crazy highlight, like posting on his socials. It was like blowing up on all kinds of sports media. And they wanted to put together like a little campaign piece. So we go out there, we shoot with him, we grind for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And put together, I think it was like 3 or 4 different pieces.
Nice.
And then I put together like my favorite VFX bits and just posted them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. Again, it's like, I'm super grateful to be able to do those projects where it's like crazy creative freedom. Where they bring you in, they're like, make it the craziest thing possible.
Right.
And you show them something and they're like, make it even crazier. Or they love it and they run with it. This is also another project I did with Under Armour. He's one of their like signed athletes for the NFL. So this was right after the Noah Lyles thing had come out too. But some people at Under Armour had hit me up and they were saying, we have Justin Jefferson coming into town, and he's dropping these 4 new shoes. We want you to make like individual promos for them. Can you put together like a treatment? So I put together a little treatment, send it over, they approve it. I shoot like his practice for a little bit, but we don't get that much time with them. We get like maybe 10, 15 minutes with them.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So gotta squeeze it. But we get that, we get some like plates of the shoes rotating like 360 stuff. Then I just go and do some VFX. The first shoe was called Keeping Receipts, if I remember. And that one was kind of about him always keeping score on like the things that he does. Like always keeping track of his, not like enemies per se,
Right.
but kind of just keeping the score. And the second one was called Afterburner. And that one was very sick because that was like a white shoe with a pink purple sort of color scheme to it.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was themed after a jet engine, like the trail. So then when I pitched that one to them, I was like, oh, what if we do like some crazy jet sound design and like have jet graphics and do like a bunch of fire and tech stuff? They're like, go for it. I said, cool. And I went for it. Yeah.
Nice.
But that was it.
And, you know, as a USC student, you've also worked really closely with the USC athletic people as well. You made an edit for the Jumbotron last year that was played at some of the football games. Like, what was it like? You know, were you at the game when they played it?
Yeah.
How was that like for you?
It was cool, man. I think that was one of the first like really big projects I got to do. I was very, very grateful for that opportunity. Shout out Flint, my goat.
Podcast dropping tomorrow.
Oh yeah, very exciting. But he connected me with that originally because he and I got really close after I started working, and then he kind of brought me in on some of his projects. So then he brought me into that. I put that edit together within like a couple of days because they needed something very short notice.
Yeah.
But it ended up doing really well and like helping my social media grow a little bit, which just helped me get more work in turn.
It looked so cool. It was like hype, you know?
Thank you.
And the way you cut to the music is just so flawless.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, speaking of music, you've also done so much for the music industry as well. You spoke a little bit about Rolling Loud, but you also made this really cool video for Coachella.
Back in, I want to say March, I was doing the shoot for this hip-hop duo called Shoreline Mafia. They were dropping this collab clothing line with an LA brand, Born and Raised. And so the ask was to go out there. They were shooting this music video while they were like showcasing these new pieces, and then kind of be like more fly on the wall during the music video shoot, but also like gathering content for this commercial piece, which is what I was doing. But then like as time went on, I got like very comfortable around them. I started chatting like with the guys and started chatting with like their creative director and stuff. And they had brought up like, oh, one of the guys was like working on the Coachella visuals, and he and I were talking, and he was like, oh, we want to do this 3D intro, but like we don't have anyone to do it right now. There's no time. And I was like, dude, I'll just do it. And he said, okay. And then they sent over the treatment later that day. I put together a video within like 2-3 days, send it over, and they're like, okay, it looks great. Thank you.
Right.
And then the thing is, for me, I've had so much stuff fall through where they'll like promise you the world and you'll like think this is going to be like some crazy game-changing opportunity, and then nothing ever comes of it, never comes out, or like you get kind of shafted by it. But that was like a moment that was very surreal for me, because I didn't believe that it was actually going to like play until I saw it play with my own eyes, and I was like, okay, wow, that's my video up there. That's another very cool moment. Yeah,
like you've worked within the music industry but also sports.
Yeah.
Would you say there's a clear difference between the two when you're making them, and what would that be?
Definitely. I think the biggest difference is probably kind of just the taste. A lot of athletes very much lean into like this hyper aggressive, like very hip hoppy kind of taste, where they want to like showcase their strength, their physical prowess, and then also like a lot of highlight cuttings, because you're like showing all their best plays and stuff. You don't really have that for music, right? Music projects are super diverse, because a lot of them are very hip hoppy and like very hype and energetic. But a lot of music projects are also very mellow and like sometimes need quieter moments, quieter reflection. Also, the way that like sports agencies and music labels operate is very, very different. Like sports agencies, and especially larger companies like Under Armour, can operate like super professionally. Sometimes labels will operate like a little more casually, where things happen like over text and yeah. But that's probably the biggest difference. But I love them both. I'm very passionate about them both.
Have you ever gotten a gig because, like a sports gig, because of a music-based video that you made, and vice versa?
Yeah, well, I first started out making like a bunch of sports videos. So my first music stuff all came from sports. But then as I started doing more music stuff and getting connected with like more people at labels, my music portfolio just grew. And at this point, it feels like they're kind of neck and neck. But I like being able to do both. Like I said, I'm very just grateful for like the creative freedom I'm able to have.
Yeah, and outside of just the filmmaking side, do you enjoy sports and music? Like,
yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love watching basketball, especially. Love basketball. I've never been super huge into watching football, but I've gotten more into it as like I've worked more with football and time has gone on. Usually it's funny, like if I ever get hit up to do something for like NBA or NFL, I'll text my brother and I'll be like, "What's this team? Like, are they good? Is it like this or that?" But it's nice. Again, it's like very nice to have like all those people in your life very supportive, and who are also able to give you like very rounded perspectives on things.
Yeah, I mean, did you grow up liking music and sports?
Yeah. Well, my brother was really big into sports and music, and then he kind of put me onto it more as time went on.
Nice.
Which kind of made me more passionate about it.
That's awesome.
Sure. Yeah, and then my friends too.
Yeah, and you know, someone that was blowing up, I mean, I'm sure she's been famous for a while in the music industry, is Jennie. And you edited that video for them.
Yeah, well, I actually, what didn't I do for them? So I was working for Jennie for maybe about 5 months this last year, doing everything from like, I did behind the scenes on 3 or 4 different music videos. I shot her shows here in LA, one in New York, one at Coachella, and edited like a wide variety of content. Some of that ended up like on her page, some of that ended up on like, she has a fan account page that was kind of run. So that was crazy. That was a very, very hectic time.
Yeah, I mean, you make videos for so many cool celebrities and figures. How often do you get to like, you know, meet them in person?
It just depends. Sometimes if it's like a concert, you're usually just shooting the performance and they like piece out afterwards. With Jennie, it was very interesting because the nature of the project itself was so open-ended. Like I was literally just like the LA guy on call. So I got brought into it by this the VP of content at Columbia. He and I connected way back in October. After he'd seen some of my sports work, he brought me on to do like some smaller edits for artists. And then when he got the Jennie project, he and I were working very closely at the time, and he liked the way I worked, so he brought me into that.
Nice.
And then he was in New York most of the time. I was this guy out here. So for a lot of the music videos that they would do out here, I would just be going shooting those myself. One of the craziest experiences was when I was sitting in like our Monday night class last semester.
Oh yeah.
Class is like wrapping up and I get a call from him and he's like, "Are you free in 20 minutes?" And I'm like, "Oh, what's up? Why?" He was like, "I need you to go interview Kali Uchis." Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Because she had a song with Jennie that was dropping on Jennie's album Ruby, which is kind of what we were doing the rollout for. So he tells me that and he's like, "Yeah, I need you to go. I'm going to send you like a list of very brief points. I want you to write questions. I want you to go set this interview up. We just got confirmation that we can do it. Like, I need you to go right now."
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I get up. I literally leave immediately, go home, pack my stuff, drive to the studio out in West Hollywood. There's only one other guy there. He's an audio guy who was also hired by my boss, and he was just getting like some stuff on his Zoom. So then we go in. She's recording some other content in the studio like right next door. So we're sitting there, we set up this whole interview. There's like 3 or 4 cameras. There's like a camcorder. And then she walks in with her like whole team. Every artist and every famous celebrity I've had always has an entourage. Always got like 5 or 6 people. It's like their personal assistant, their manager, like 3 or 4 of their friends. And they just take them everywhere. Sometimes it can range. Sometimes it can be like 15, 20 people.
Right. Yeah,
but there's always like at least 2 or 3 people.
Wow.
So they come in and they're like messing with the cameras. They're like, oh, we don't like this angle. We don't like that. Change this, change that. And I'm like frantically running around trying to do all this. And then she walks in and then I have her go sit down and we start doing this little interview. I'm standing off to the side. I'm like asking her the questions. I was like so dead nervous the whole time. But then it went really well. She got up, they left. We packed everything up and bounced. But yeah, like things like that happen semi-casually. And it's also just being able to like operate on your feet and knowing that like, okay, this is something that I can do. Like I didn't think I was going to be able to do it before because that's like a crazy, right? But
yeah,
then,
no, it's nuts. Did you have to skip part of class?
It was like the last 10 minutes.
Oh, gotcha.
And I think like everyone was already leaving anyway.
That's convenient.
Yeah, very convenient. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, really respect your work ethic. You know?
Thank you. Yeah.
Like you've just always on the. I mean, what drives you? What makes you keep wanting to keep making these projects?
The truth is, it's just always been so rewarding, right? Like I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to you about all these things if I didn't stay driven the whole time. And usually when like a lot of times shit will go bad, like it'll go really bad and you'll feel like very desolate. You'll feel like, oh, this wasn't meant to be. Maybe I wasn't meant to have this opportunity. Maybe I wasn't ready for it at the time. But then looking back, like things are never as bad as they seem. Yeah. And then I think it's always just important to focus on doing what you like to do, focus on building new skills. And I think part of it is also like, I think most really creative people should be good at a wide variety of things.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's just what's going to benefit you. If you're not like good at cinematography, for example, then I don't think you'll ever be good at like 3D design. Because so much of that comes down to lighting and framing. And like you're essentially setting up a whole scene. And then if I wasn't able to like shoot and edit a commercial video, but then also be like, oh, I can do this 3D video, then I never would have gotten to do the Coachella project.
Right.
If I didn't tell these people, oh, I can shoot, but I can also like edit these episodes, then I never would have gotten to like all these Jennie projects.
Right.
One of the projects we did for her was that they were launching this series for her album Ruby. They pitched like 8 episodes. I think we only ever made 4. But the first episode was about 2.5 minutes. It was like there was some narration from Jennie. There was some studio footage that I had like shot on my phone too. And like a bunch of people had collected from like a wide variety of sources. We cut in like some concerts footage, a bunch of other stuff, some BTS footage. That one episode ended up going through almost 75 different versions.
Wow.
Over the course of like a month and a half before it ended up getting released. And then at the time, I remember I was thinking like, this is insane. Like, I can't believe it's going through like so many different people's approvals. Like I would work on something that they would ask me to, and then they would turn around and be like, no, change that like 3 weeks down the line, and then change it back another 3 weeks down the line.
Right.
It was like a very insane process.
Right.
But then that episode drops, and then within like 4 days, it hits like 100 million views on her Instagram.
Right. Wow.
Right. And then at the end of the day, you kind of realize that like these things can have such an insanely massive impact that they have to be very meticulous about it. Like it has to go through all these approval steps.
Yeah.
And especially with like such high profile talent like Jennie.
I do wonder like, what is the way they pay? Like, you know, do you pay by project per hour revision?
It depends. With Under Armour, usually it'll just be by project. They'll do like a flat rate per project. With Jennie, again, it was such like an unorthodox kind of work. I was like kind of on retainer essentially for 5 months. They paid me for some of the specific edits I did. Yeah. But then for like all the times I would spend shooting and like revising and stuff, they gave me like a lump sum at the end, which is very nice.
Right.
But yeah, honestly, it depends. A lot of the times too, bro, I'll like do stuff for free. Like USC concerts, like that's a club on campus that I joined because I like the people and I'm passionate about music. All that stuff is like obviously for free, right? It's just a club, but I love doing it.
That's nice. To someone who wants to like get in this field, right, do what you do, what is the pay like for them? You know, if they were to do something like you know, what are the budgets for these companies? Usually
it'll go in like the multiple thousands. Sometimes it can be like 10K budget. Sometimes it can be even higher for like a larger directing project. But sometimes the budget is just what you make of it, bro. Like it's what you can negotiate out of a person. It's what you can convince a person to like. When someone gives you a budget, you're essentially telling them to bet on you. And then how good you are and how communicative you are, how strong your vision is and how strong your portfolio is. Like, these are all things that will get someone to bet more on you. So if someone's like, I want this video done, I'm going to give you $5,000 for it. I'm going to be like, I can give you an even better video if you give me like $10,000 for it. And then if you negotiate with them like that, then they can kind of see your worth. And then when it turns out well in the end for them, they'll look back and say, oh, we made a right decision. Let's continue making similar decisions in the future. Right. That's also how you develop your professional relationship with them.
Yeah.
How were you able to increase the bet over time?
I just started building like such a wide variety of projects. Like I said, like so many different things I would keep on working on. And I would just like keep posting here and there. I would keep like putting on my website. I would send it to the right people. And then people like to see things that are in motion. People want to work with someone who's like working a lot.
Yeah.
So when I worked with like Under Armour way back when, I posted their ads, but then I worked on this like music stuff in between. I worked on this other stuff in between. Then they see that and be like, oh, he's very diverse in his skill set. Let's bring him onto this other diverse project. And then you go and then you crush that. Then they'll bring you onto something else.
So when you say they, who are you talking about?
Well, it depends. With like Under Armour, it's like their social media specialists. They have like heads of content, heads of creative. With labels, they have commissioners. So Interscope has like a bunch of commissioners who I know pretty well now. And these guys have, typically the way it works in a label structure is that they have a roster of artists who they're responsible for like media for like public outreach for. And then once you form a good relationship with like the commissioner, if they're like, oh, hey, we need this like 30-second concert recap for Glorilla, like give you some money, come do it. Then once you become that guy who they want to reach out to, then you just go do it. And then they'll recommend you to someone else at the label. And they'll be going and visiting someone at like another label, and then they'll recommend you there. And then if you just keep on delivering consistently.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you build this list of people that trust you, you know?
It just started with me like really over-promising, I'll say is one thing. Is that I would say I could do something that I had no idea how to do, but then I would force myself to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're in that kind of high pressure environment where the stakes are like super, super real, where you really do have to force yourself to learn, otherwise this person's gonna like blacklist you forever. Then you have no choice but to put the video together. And I think just being consistent, being like diverse, posting a lot, messaging all the right people. I used to send like hundreds of these cold messages to like all these label people. It takes one person to give you a chance, and then once you deliver on that project, like I said, then it'll just keep going up.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you, because you said find the right people strategically, right? How did you find the people, you know? How did you know to message them?
Yeah, well, I would find them on Instagram a bunch. I would find them on like LinkedIn a bunch. I would find them everywhere, like so many different people working at labels, people working at like commercial companies. A lot of people who like went to USC, like Flint, he and I connected very early on when I was first starting out. And then he and I worked together on a number of different things, but I was also very fortunate to have had his guidance and his experience doing like high level commercial work as well.
Right.
And then once he and I connected, then I started meeting like some of the people he was connected with. He met some of the people I was connected with. And then at that point, you just keep on growing your network.
Nice. I mean, how did you know that that was the person to contact at this label, right?
Well, I would just look it up on LinkedIn. I would be like, sometimes it's just, you just got to grind. You just got to look it up. Just got to be like, Also, sometimes it's good to like go to people's Instagrams, find the work that they're doing, see the people they're tagging, like, oh, this is the label commissioner. Go follow them, hit them up, like get them interested in your work. Get someone personally invested in you, I think, is like the bottom line. You should have people who want to see you win. Like, especially when you're a younger creative, if you can go up to someone and sell yourself, not like a bad way, sell yourself, but like convince them that you are someone who is worth taking seriously.
Yeah.
And once they do start taking you seriously, then that automatically elevates your status.
Right.
And that's something I still struggle with a lot, is like getting taken seriously.
Right.
But yeah.
One of the ways to do that is through social media platforms. So how do you go about promoting your work on top of the work that you already do? You have your website, your Instagram, your LinkedIn. How do you make sure that these platforms are representing your work to the best of their ability?
Well, I think part of it's being strategic about what you post, strategic about what you share. I think showing, like, if you post different projects that have like a diverse style, but are also in similar vein to things that you want to do similar work to down the line, then when you post this, then they'll be like, oh, can't believe he did this. That's like so different, as opposed to this other project that's very different.
Yeah.
And then I think the biggest thing is like building a very diverse portfolio. At least for me, in my experience. Again, I don't want to speak to anyone. I won't knock anyone's hustle
Yeah.
because I think people have been very successful being very like directional with what they want to do. But someone like me, I'm very passionate about like all kinds of things like directing, editing, VFX, photo.
Yeah.
And so I'm very fortunate to get hit up for jobs for like all of those. And so as I keep on building out this kind of like rounded sphere of projects, I'm just able to like take a more consistent input now.
So let's say you want to connect with someone now, today, right? And it's someone at a sports agency,
Yeah.
right? What is a way you'd type that would sell yourself?
Me now?
Yeah.
Well, usually it would be someone, if I have mutuals with them, that's
Yeah.
already like a huge sign off the first go. Sometimes I'll like message one of the mutuals, ask them to like do an introduction. Sometimes I'll just message and be like, hey, I know I'm familiar with like a lot of the work that you do over at like Under Armour. Like it was a lot of cold messaging for Under Armour.
Yeah.
One guy, this is a funny example, but this one guy who was connected to the lady's name is Leah, who was the first person I worked with at Under Armour. I connected with her on LinkedIn, and so she reposted this one of her like colleagues got promoted at Under Armour.
Yeah.
I connected with him, he connected me back. I hit him up on Instagram being like, hey, I just saw you got promoted, like would love to tap in with you. Like these are some of the projects I've done with Under Armour in the past. And then he was like, oh my God, thank you for congratulating me. Like your work is very diverse. We'd love to bring you on some projects. And then like 4 months down the line, he remembered that. And then he was like, hey, we just got this ask. I think you'd be a great fit for it.
Nice.
So I think it's being strategic about like just finding ways, being just nice to people too.
Yeah.
It's like you're, at the end of the day, I'm not going to say you're like a kid. You're like a student, even if you're not a student. At the end of the day, you're like a younger creative who's really looking to like make their mark. I think you just got to be open, be honest. Say like, hey, I want to work in this space. You're someone whose work I really admire. Like, would love to learn from you, would love to work with you.
Yeah.
And if you have things that you can bring to the table,
Yeah.
especially, right? I think when I was first starting out and I would send messages, I didn't really have anything I could bring to the table at that time. Like I didn't have the technical experience, I didn't have the portfolio. But as time went on, as I first started getting like my footholds in, I started building up these projects. Then when people want to bring me in, they can be like, this is everything he's done. This is what he will add.
Wow.
You got to make
Yeah.
sure you provide value.
Nice. That's great. I mean, what is the percentage rate of people who respond, versus
respond?
who don't? Because it is a cold emo at the end of the day.
It depends. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes the labels, it can be like 0%. Sometimes it can be like 50%. Sometimes. But the important thing is just not be discouraged. Like for every one person who doesn't respond, for every 100 people who don't respond, there's like one person who will. And all it takes is that one person.
Right.
I've like built most of my projects off of that one person who responded.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. So all it takes is like, it costs you nothing to reach out to someone. It costs you nothing to like be open with your work and try new things. So
That's great.
just be a
Once
risk
you-
taker.
Right. And once you make that connection and connections multiple, how do you go about maintaining them in the long run and that you really foster a collaborative relationship with them?
Yeah, well, I'm grateful that a lot of the people who I've connected with, especially the people in LA, I'm fortunate to like call my friends too. So half the time we'll just be hanging out and then we'll be like working on stuff at the same time. But it doesn't necessarily need to be like a transactional relationship.
Right.
I think when it comes to like commissioners and people at the companies, you get them invested in your projects. Once you do projects for them and they trust you, then no matter whether it's like 1 month, 2 months, 6 months down the line, they'll remember that anytime they have something similar come across the board. But they'll also remember that anytime they see you post something online. And then at the end of the day, like it's just making sure you keep that motion going. And then sometimes I'll message people who I haven't talked to in a really long time, especially if a project didn't like end super well. Like I've had a bunch of projects where it's like kind of fizzled out, or like the creative direction didn't match like what I was doing, or I wasn't able to turn something in on time. And then like 5-6 months down the line, I'll hit them up and be like, hey, I loved working with you on this one project. I'm sorry that it turned out the way it did sometimes, but I hope you know that like I would love to work with you again in the future.
Right.
And then a lot of times that'll remind people too, because people don't think like that. People don't think like a lot of times to follow up on things like that. At the end of the day, it's just being nice.
Right.
Like being nice, being very respectful, knowing your value, knowing what you can bring, and also knowing like that these people's times is very valuable, especially like when looking at larger companies.
Yeah. I mean, you make some wonderful content. It seems so fun, right? So why do you think, and it's great pay working with celebrities, so why do you think only a select few people are able to do the kind of work you do?
I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to like not wanting it bad enough, but being willing to like do whatever it took to get there. And then I talk about this with some of my other friends who graduated from USC who were like doing well in the industry. But it's like when you're first starting out, you have to be willing to like do everything for anyone. I was doing like I said, all kinds of random projects. But I knew that this person could connect me to this person, and I knew that like if I built this aspect of my portfolio, it would let me do like this skill. And then as I started doing that, I became more naturally curious and like more naturally interested in like learning all these different things.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think, because you talk a lot about being well-rounded, right? Studying all these different fields. Do you think it's also important to like go super deep on one of them or two of them?
I think it's again, like there's so many successful people who have. I'll just speak from my own experience that like as someone who enjoys doing all these different things.
Yeah.
Like I want to be very diverse and well-rounded. And it's come around in like a lot of different projects. Like for Jennie, there was so much photo, video, like social assets. Like between like concert recaps we were doing, I like went and flew my drone out by like the Coachella billboard.
Oh, wow.
I like took photos, like behind the scenes photos at like 3 or 4 different music video shoots. I had to like go interview Kelly, like all these different like random specific skills that all fall under this creative umbrella. But knowing that I was able to do all of them, like that's not something that a normal person would be able to do.
Yeah.
Someone who hasn't wanted to be well-rounded and like hasn't wanted to do all that.
And I'm curious, in film school we're taught to market ourselves as one thing or, be the director, the DP. So how do you get people to know you as all these things and want to hire you for, all these different things?
Well, it's just like, social media is a big thing, but it's also just networking. It's like I said, a lot of the people who I'm very fortunate to work with are like good friends of mine, and they know what I'm capable of. And so they'll just bring me into projects being like, hey, would you want to do photo for this? And I'll say, yeah. And then a lot of the times too, it's not that you'll just get brought in on a project. They'll be like, oh, do you want to put in a treatment? Like, do you want to pitch for something?
Yeah.
And so if you can put together a good enough pitch, and then they go check out your portfolio, then those kind of go really hand in hand.
What's some qualities of a good pitch?
I think one is being very succinct, like keeping it very concise, keeping it very like, at the end of the day, people don't want to have to read a ton.
Yeah.
I'll say that, especially like big time corporate execs. And this is something I kind of learned when I was working at Capital too, because we were on the other side of the pitch deck screening. We had this thing where they were submitting, a bunch of independent directors were submitting a pitch for a music video. And then we were going through and choosing the decks. And so I got to see firsthand how these label commissioners will choose a deck.
Yeah.
And it's immediately like the first impression. Like the first slide, the way it's designed, like the taste that they get from it, like the value of taste that they get from the references you pull, from what you write, from how well you're able to communicate a lot through visuals. Like they pick so much off of first impressions.
Yeah.
I think a great pitch can be like 5 slides long, and 3 of those slides can be just visuals.
Wow.
But you do like a brief storyline, you do like a brief director's statement, like showing why you connect personally with this project and why you would bring something different to it.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, like what are some things to avoid in a pitch deck like that?
In a pitch deck? Unnecessary wordiness is definitely a big one. I think also the design of the pitch deck itself is very indicative of like your creative taste. If you have a pitch deck and you pull like really great references, but the way the deck is designed looks bad, then people are gonna be like, okay, he's not able to apply those skills. Right?
Yeah.
That's something people don't really consider. So I think those are some things to avoid. Being very, very generic is something to avoid. Be very specific with like, this is the kind of shot we want to emulate. This is what we want to recreate. This is exactly what I want to do. And being very like faithful in your vision. Like I've read pitch decks where they've said at the end, it's like, oh, but if you guys don't want to do this, we can do something else. It's like, no, like fight for your vision, right? Because if you don't care, if you're like willing to fold on that, then why would any like label commissioner be like, okay, here's 10K, go make this video.
Yeah.
Right. So being very vague, being very not you. Like people should be able to look at a deck and be like, okay, this is the kind of video that you would make, as opposed to sometimes they'll take a deck and give it to another director who they think will do a better job, and that's like the last thing you want to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered a situation where on the other side of the pitch, they were like, yeah, actually, your exact vision doesn't necessarily match what we want, did you still sort of vouch for your own vision, or did you somewhat adapt so that they can?
Well, you can always adapt. If they like your vision, they like you, then definitely, again, like always adapt. Like the client will come first. But I think at the end of the day too, sometimes you're not like the right fit for a project.
Right.
And then you only know that once you do a bunch of different stuff and find the kind of stuff that you like to do.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, you have very distinct style, and I feel like it's so easy to sell your work because, you know, you have that style, like people know what they're getting. But for someone who doesn't have that style yet, like what do you say to them to help them find their voice, you know?
Just make a bunch of stuff. Like that's it. Like that's all I did, right? Like I didn't have any of this like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I had like a little bit 2 years ago. 3 years ago, definitely nothing. But I just made a bunch of stuff. Like I made a bunch of stuff. I connected with the right people, and I think I was very smart about like what I chose to do when I got here. Like the two big fields that I work in now are like sports and music. The first two things that I did when I came here, I joined USC Concerts and I joined USC Athletics, like shooting their videos and shooting concerts videos. Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I go to school with such an amazing sports program, such a great film program. I had shot like sports in high school a little bit, and I knew that that was something that was cool to me. Again, I'm like very into like hip hop culture and like streetwear, and like that intersection all comes very tight with sports. So then when I got here, I was like, okay, I definitely want to shoot sports, which is a great decision. I definitely want to join concerts, right? Because like you get to shoot for like an A tier, S tier artist that comes to your school, and you kind of make that video your creative vision as well. Obviously, once you get in charge and spend your time in there. But at the beginning, I'd never shot a concert before. And then I was always very into it. So then I got here, I started shooting concerts for USC. I started like shooting a bunch of sports. And then again, just showing off that like I'm able to do these things on a bit of a higher level. Trust me with some of these bigger projects. And once they give you that trust, you kind of take it, you run with it, you over-deliver, and they give you even more trust.
Yeah, I mean, that was very goal-oriented of you. Immediately, right off the bat, you know. I feel like, well, all the other freshmen are, you know, lost at the parties.
Like, you know, if you really do want to, like, work on a high level, you kind of just have to put in the... Like, there really is no two ways about it. You can't jump into anything. I've seen a lot of very talented people get handed, like, projects that they're not capable of doing. And then a lot of times it'll crash and burn. But I think once you've built up enough of, like, a portfolio that you can stand on, you built up enough experiences that you can stand on, that's not something anyone can really take away from you. You know, that's like yours truly and like fully. And like even if another project falls through, at this point in my career, I feel like I'm not as worried about like projects falling through as I am to like, oh, there will be something else. Like there'll be something else, and it could be something better, it could be something worse, but like there'll definitely be something even better down the line. And then as long as you keep on working for it and pushing for it, But like I said, I'm not saying like don't party, like go get lit. Like I fucking like we have a good time here too, right? But I think it's if you want to do stuff, you just have to put the time into it.
Right. And one of the things you mentioned was just saying yes to projects, at least in the beginning. But now that you've built a strong enough portfolio, how do you go about saying no to projects? Because I'm assuming your time is limited. All of our time is limited, and was there ever a case where you have to say no to something?
Oh, so many times. Well, I mean, at this point, sometimes, even if I get hit up by a label and it's like an edit that they want me to do, even if it's like good money, sometimes I'll just not have the time to do it and be like, hey, I don't have the time to take this on right now. And it's, again, just being very honest. Sometimes I would promise and be like, oh, I can do everything. Like, I want to be able to do everything. Then I wouldn't be able to deliver. And that would honestly cost me like certain business relationships and even certain personal relationships, because you don't want to disappoint these people. But at the end of the day, I think you can just be honest. And I used to get really anxious that if I told people, oh, hey, I'm busy, then they'll just go to someone else. But at the end of the day, like I have a good influx of projects coming in that I'm not even worried. Like, you need your video made, that's fine. Go make it with someone else. Like, I'll be here in case you need something that's more my style. And when it suits me more.
I mean, also, honestly, I feel like turning down a project because you're busy makes them want you more in a way, right?
Yeah, they do. They're like, oh, man, he's like working on something even bigger.
Yeah, totally.
It's cool. It was like one of the coolest experiences for me was my video played at Coachella. But I was at Coachella shooting for Jennie. It's like a completely unrelated reason. I just went off to the side. I was like, hey, guys, my video's going to play. And they were like, wait, what? So I took some of my friends who I'd made on the Jennie team, bring them over to the stage, and I'm like, oh, here, watch my video. Like, wow, this is crazy. And then, I can't believe you did this for Coachella. And then after that happened, I go to the Shoreline Mafia people, and they're like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm here shooting for Jennie." And they're like, "What? I can't believe you know these people."
Yeah.
So it's like when things like that happen, because the LA like music world is very small. A lot of these people know each other.
Dang,
so when you're able to like build things on multiple fronts, and you're able to connect people too, that's like a very key thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Was like the most memorable moment like that where you're like, wow, like my work is truly like it's being seen by a huge crowd, and like everyone's just responding to it. Was there like a favorite moment for you?
A favorite moment? I've definitely had a few favorite moments. I think the Coachella one was definitely one of my favorite moments too, because I was kind of it was like a huge stage. It's called their Sahara stage. It's like the only stage that's like covered in Coachella, and they have a bunch of lights on the ceiling and everything. And then I get there right before my video starts playing. I'm standing towards the back, and there's like this massive crowd of people all waiting for the artist to perform. And the video starts, and then immediately everyone turns around, and all these people start like taking out their phones and recording it. That was a very surreal moment for me, because I was like, wow, all these people are recording my video. It was like, there's like that one meme where there's some dude standing in the corner at like a party, and he's like, oh, they don't know I did it. I was like, yeah. I was like me in the back. I was like, yeah, they're like, I don't know. They don't know I have the actual video. But yeah, things like that are funny too.
Yeah. You came to USC, you joined athletics, and you joined the concert club.
Yeah.
But you were mainly here for the film school. What's your experience like so far? Because you have one more year left, you know.
I'm not the best student, not gonna lie. I used to be in high school, but I think as time kind of went on here, I started prioritizing my outside projects more. But I will say I wouldn't have like anything that I have now without like USC. Even if it's not concerts or athletics, I think like being in the film school, being surrounded by like really creative people all the time has definitely like driven me to want to like succeed in this field. And also, I think it's just good to have like that narrative storytelling education, have that experience, because it does come in handy in a lot of different ways. One of the reasons I got brought into like the whole Jennie project was the guy, which I was very surprised, but he had like gone to my old YouTube channel, and he had seen like old documentaries I had made, and he was like, I like the way you do storytelling, as opposed to and you're able to like do all this cool VFX and stuff that we need technically. That's something that I definitely don't want to undersell, is that storytelling aspect to it too. But I think I do like the film school. Like I love all my friends here. I wouldn't have changed anything about any of this too. Like a lot of people I think have been like, oh, you know, film school's overrated. Like it's like, don't do that. Like you need to go work in the industry. Like it's never that deep. I think you should be able to do what you want, have fun, make friends. I think it's good to hang around a lot of people your age. I think the more I started working, the more I started hanging around with like a lot of people a lot older than me, and I think it gave me an interesting perspective. But at the end of the day, like I do love being a college student, and I love being able to like go to campus and like do my thing there, and like when it's done, it'll be done.
What's your favorite class so far?
I really liked 290.
Oh yeah.
Remember 290?
Yes.
I think that was fun. I think that was probably one of the better professors I had here.
Oh, who?
I had Peter.
Oh, nice. I've heard good things.
He was cool. But he was great. I think I don't remember what his name was, but the 294 documentary professor too.
Dave,
I think it might have been
Davey.
Dave. Yeah, Davey. Yeah. I thought he was great too.
Yeah.
I like these professors that talk a lot about life experience outside of things too. And I think one thing that's also been very beneficial for me here is that I don't come from like a creative family at all. Like my parents, my older brother also went to USC. He was in CS here. He works at Meta now. And then a bunch of my family friends who have like grown up in OC, some of them went to USC, some of them went to like other schools. A lot of them like very CS heavy fields, like very engineering heavy fields. And I spent a lot of time hanging around with them. And I think hanging around a wide variety of people will just give you such a diverse like view on everything.
Yeah.
I think if you hang around film people all the time, you're going to get in such like a echo chamber of like, this is what the world is. But it's really not, right? Like you have to be able to go and see the world for what it is. At the end of the day, as much as I enjoy what I do, to a lot of people, it's just like, oh, he makes cool videos. And at the end of the day, like that is like, I make cool videos, like I post them online. Sometimes I get paid good money for them. And if you're able to kind of move with that sort of perspective about what you do, I think it makes you like enjoy everything a lot more. And like, I think hanging around people more focused in like tech or business or like finance will also change how you want to operate too. Like I wouldn't have thought I wanted to do like this summer program at Capital But a lot of these friends were all like very worried about like, oh, we need to do the summer internship at like Deloitte or like wherever they wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Which is like obviously very fair, right? Get your job, get your bag. But I didn't think that, I used to think like, oh, creative people don't need to do that. But I think it's good to do that. I think it's good to have a very wide variety of experiences, because at the end of the day, if all you do is like make films all the time, then how are you ever going to make a film about something?
That's great, because Jiayang and I were just talking about it like right before you came.
Oh, really?
That was something I mentioned too. I was like, I feel like I love film school, but at the same time, I do want to kind of surround myself with people who have a variety of different interests, to just keep myself curious and open to experiences. And one of the best ways to do that is to go to college.
Yeah, definitely.
So what would be your advice to someone heading into their first year of a creative/film program? How should they navigate this space overall?
Oh, be social, make friends with everybody. I joined so many different clubs my freshman, sophomore, junior year, and that way I was just able to meet all these different people who have like very different goals and aspirations, but also just very different perspectives on like how they work, the kinds of work they like to do, the kinds of things they're interested in. And everyone's perspective is like very valid about something. It's something I've realized is that you should be willing to take opinions from most people. You should be willing to take suggestions from most people, because at the end of the day, when you present something to the world, you're presenting it to like a very wide conglomeration of people. And if you can't take notes from like someone who has like almost no film experience, but is able to look at things from like the perspective of a consumer, or someone who's just like swiping online, like that's something you should be able to take into account. And I think it's very important to like move without an ego. Like, don't think you're entitled to anything. Don't think you're entitled to like any project. Don't think you're entitled to like work with any person. Be willing to like work hard and earn things. Be willing to like put yourself out there, but also like make sure you have a good time. Like, I wish I worked less my first 2 years sometimes, you know, because I think like college is coming to a close soon. And like I'm super grateful for everything I've gotten to do, and I wouldn't have gotten to do it if I like didn't work as hard. But I think my advice would be like, don't be so hard on yourself too. Just like take things as they come. Just don't be deterred. Stay strong, stay creative.
Yeah.
Make sure you have fun with what you do.
How do you keep balance? You know, you have so many projects coming to you, but you have school, you have personal life. How do you keep everything balanced without burning out, you know, without forgetting things, without, you know, sacrificing too much on one side?
Well, sometimes I definitely don't. I'll start by saying that. But I think this last year I've gotten really good about scheduling, about like organizing my time. And also, I think one thing I kind of realized was that, and I think most people would also do better to realize this, is that no one is ever really as busy as they say they are. Like, if you really look at your day, think about how much time you spend just sitting around kicking it, like on your phone. Most people, like, if they really cut that out, and then, not to say that I spent so much time like just straight chilling.
Yeah.
But I think people are not as busy as they say they are. And I think once you realize that, then you realize there's like so much more time in your day for you to do things. You can like work on things passively. You can work on things very actively. I think you don't need to always prioritize like your work like it's the end of the world. I used to do that. But at the end of the day, it's just like a video for someone, right? Like, sometimes I'll be willing to sacrifice like a project to go hang out with my friends. I wasn't willing to do that before, but like now I kind of value that more.
Yeah. I mean, what have you learned that helped you organize your time? You know, how do you do that? How do you schedule?
Well, Google Calendar is great.
Yeah.
Notion is great. Project tracking softwares are great. Monday, Trello, like all these things. Well, it depends on who you work with too. But for me personally, I like to have a good routine. I just like to be able to have my time where I work, but also my time where I live in a house with like a bunch of people, so it's extremely social. Like, at any given moment, there's like 5 people downstairs just yammering, and I'll like be sitting in my room working on something, like, oh, I want to just go talk to my friends. But sometimes you just gotta lock in and get something done. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, once you're able to get something done, and then you're able to like have a good time after, that will always feel infinitely better than like sitting around with something weighing on you.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of like balancing structure and creativity, I feel like sometimes creativity requires a little bit of chaos, a lot of, you know, letting your brain and your mind go free.
Definitely.
And explore. So how do you make sure that you're working within a balanced structure, within predictability, but also letting your creativity run wild?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I definitely don't, right? I'll start by saying, like, nothing about this process has ever been perfect.
Yeah.
Like, so much of this has been, like, 3 a.m. mental breakdowns, like, because I can't get something done. But I think part of it, too, it kind of comes down to, like, when the clock is running out, you really have no choice. Like, something that I've started doing is, like, when it gets down to, like, the wire on a project, I'll just, like, sit there and I'll just, like, not move until it's done. And then at that point, I'm kind of, like, going through, I have, like, thousands of things saved over the years for, like, creative inspiration. I'll just, like, I have a mouse that has this, like, unlockable scroll button. And then I'll, like, press that and just, like, flick it. And it'll scroll down to a random part. And I'll, like, pull inspo from one of these. I'll be like, I like this section of this edit. Let me see how I can reframe it for this project.
Okay.
And I think that's like one great way to find creative inspo. Like going online is a great way to find creative inspo. Going on a walk is a great way. I think it's just like being able to introduce yourself to different environments.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've obviously handled a lot of, projects that go well, but some don't go well. So what were some of moments, in your career where it felt like nothing was working, Has there been any moments where you were like, it almost felt like this project is like gone, it's like you can't repair it?
Yeah. Oh, so many times.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, the Noah Lyles thing, me, Jameson, and Jackson were also doing this intro for Odell Beckham Jr. He was doing like a TV show. We created this intro for him. But his creative director had like a very different vision than what we were doing. And all three of us were very busy at the time too.
Yeah.
We weren't all able to put our 100% into it. So then we ended up getting dropped from the project. He actually wrote us a very nasty email afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that was actually, and like, I think some of it was definitely warranted because none of us gave it like our 100 like we should have. But also the way he went about it wasn't great too. But all that goes to show that like, that was something that like 2 years ago, if that had happened to me, that would have like crushed me absolutely.
Yeah.
But when that happened, it was just like another project. And sometimes things will fall through. Like people in this space move very personally. I think you definitely can't do that. You can't take anything personally. At the end of the day, it's like a company. I'm working on something that's coming out in a couple of weeks. That was like this really high profile interview we were editing. And then we ended up doing like a lot of cool VFX, mixed media kind of styles for it. We put together this whole cut, send it over. The client, their style is very like clean visual aesthetic. They're like, cool, remove all of that. We just want the interview. Like we just want it clean. And things like that, again, can kind of feel like the project is falling apart. But then I went back and I rewatched it and I think like people are going to connect with this other version way more. Sometimes you have to be willing to like take the hit for yourself.
Yeah.
Just because I like editing things in a cool way doesn't mean that everyone wants to watch that all the time. Doesn't mean it's the right fit for every project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, has there ever been a moment where it made you question your career choice?
I think definitely. I think when I was first starting out, I was like struggling to gain some traction in like the projects. The thing is, I just wanted it like really, really bad. Like I knew, like not to sound like preachy or anything, but in the back of my mind, even when I was in high school and I was like watching these music videos that like Cole Bennett was doing or like all these like younger directors were doing, I just knew, I was like in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna do that someday. And then for me, it was just a matter of time of like grabbing a hold of that future and trying to bring it as close as I can.
Wow.
So it's just doing all these different projects.
Yeah.
I've never really gotten super discouraged. Like I'm very, very fortunate to have had people who are like rooting for me, to have had people who have like supported me so much ever since I started making videos.
Wow.
And at the end of the day, if you have like people who are both like your friends, your family, but also like professional career people tell you like you're going to do good things, like keep working on what you're doing. And then you see yourself growing and you see like the things I've done in the past year, I couldn't have like imagined them 1 year ago now. It's not super discouraging anymore. It can be discouraging at times, but at the end of the day, it's like champagne problems. It's like, I don't feel like if a project isn't going well, it's just like the latest project for me. It's not like the end of my whole career.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, has there ever been a project that you didn't expect it to go so well, but then ended up being better than you expected?
Oh yeah, so many projects. I think The first one's definitely that Spider-Verse project, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
I was just, that was like my first time ever actually using After Effects. And I was like just fucking around. That thing took me like 2 days straight. I was just like very in the zone, very inspired by the movie. And then I didn't expect that to bring me like all the work it ended up bringing me. But it also was a thing where I had, up until that point, I had connected with like so many different people who were able to see that project and then take me seriously. So that was one project that I didn't think was like going to take me super far. And then from then on too, it was like even some of the smaller USC stuff. Like I did the basketball Jumbotron video in 2023 as well. I didn't think that was going to be like a huge one either. But that was like another very stylized piece that ended up getting me a lot more work. Yeah. So I think it's like when you have a piece that you know is going to be big or is like going to have a big footprint on social media or wherever it ends up being, if it has like some high profile talent, just go all out, like be creative with it and like really try and make it your own, really own it. Like be very proud of the things that you do.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of social media, a lot of times we're on social media, we're seeing the cool things that other people are doing. Has there been any moments in your life where you're feeling like, oh, you're falling behind because all these people are doing
probably
great?
Felt that way like not even 2 hours ago, right?
Yeah.
Like you just go open up online, you can see all kinds of creative things people are doing. But at the end of the day, it's like everyone is trying to get their hustle up. Like this industry is not easy for anyone to break into. And I've like come to really respect a lot of creative work that I see online too. I think I used to get very discouraged when I would see people doing like really, really great things. But now I'm very inspired by it because I keep on like, I think the question is like, why not you, right? If they can do it, why not you, right?
Yeah.
If you have the skill set and you know that you look at something and be like, I could have done this, then make sure it's you next time. Like just work towards it and like bring it to fruition.
Right. Speaking of like the quantity that you can find on social media, online, YouTube and all that, one of the ways that people have been even increasing that quantity and maybe speeding out the process is artificial intelligence. And I did want to ask, what's your take on that technology as it slowly begins to sort of be incorporated into our industry throughout basically the entire process?
I think AI can be super useful when used as a tool. I think fundamentally the bottom line is I don't think people want to watch AI videos. Like people don't want to go watch an AI movie. People don't want to watch an AI ad. People don't want to watch an AI music video. Sometimes if that's a style, that can be cool, but not if that's like the norm.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, and for a lot of projects that I've used, it's very useful for like pitching, for treatments especially, because you're able to show what a big corporate head will not care like about like you describing this or that. But if you can show it to them, if you can have an AI generate like this is what the concept visual will look like, you can sell someone on that really easily. So it's very useful in that process. It's very useful for like ideation. I think it's very useful sometimes for organization as well. But it should never be like, if that's something that you're using to just create the whole thing, then what's your point? You know,
Right.
like what's the point of you? Like anyone can type something in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be smart about it.
Do you ever see a future where like people can't tell the difference?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Right. I think I know as much about the future as like literally anyone else, which is absolutely nothing. But I'm very grateful for like my career trajectory. I just want to keep going, just keep doing my thing, see where it takes us.
Yeah.
If AI cooks us, then it'll cook all of us, and there's very precious little we can do about that.
Right.
Not to be ominous, but it's just like
Yeah, we'll just have to pave a new way forward.
we'll have to,
Yeah.
and there will be, right?
Yeah.
People will always want to create, and I think as long as people always want to create, there will always be a room for people to like consume that kind of art.
Right.
Are people sorry
no you can go.
Are the people at the agencies or the labels like how are their moods towards AI? Are they optimistic?
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. UMG, like Universal Music Group, has banned AI across all their offices. So in Capital, you can't go on ChatGPT, you can't go on all this stuff. It's like blocked on the Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's very interesting. But I think sometimes fundamentally like that can be wrong. I think you want people to be productive. I don't think you should be firing people and replacing them with AI. But I think there's definite ways to incorporate it into like the structure, especially when it's like a creative person too. Sometimes it's very useful to have things to like bounce ideas off of, or have a good quick way to conceptualize something without having to like waste a lot of time. I think it's useful to know if an idea is like worth pursuing as well.
Yeah. What was your first gig, first job that you got paid on?
First job that I ever got paid on?
Yeah, film-wise.
Junior year of high school. I was like very involved in like the South Asian like community in Orange County. And then they needed like a promo video for one of their events. Diwali, it's like a festival of lights where everyone like lights colors and they'll do like sparklers and fireworks. So I went and I shot it. It was like November 2020. I think they paid me like $50 to make like a 30-second video that I posted on their Instagram. Yeah, that was the first thing I ever got paid for.
Dang. Did that change how you thought of your career at all? Or?
A little bit. I think that was not like the first thing I was super creative about, right? That was just the first time anyone had really taken me seriously enough to like put some money where their mouth is.
Right.
And I think as time went on and like as the amount increased and as like the scale of the project increased, it's just been more and more like work, but it's also been better. Yeah, right. That was the first thing.
How do you deal with like burning out on projects? Do you ever burn out?
Sometimes I think I'll get like, I won't say I burn out, I'll say I get fatigued. And this is kind of like a pro and con of like moving in an actually like professional capacity. You really can't burn out. Like you don't have a choice, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise you get fired, like you get kicked off the project.
Yeah.
So I'll say I've gotten fatigued a lot, especially with Jennie. We worked on hundreds of things for her that never got released. But at the end of the day, like I got paid a lot of money and also it was such a great experience, like being able to do all those things. Wow. So I don't think I get burned out as much anymore. I just get very excited about the future.
Nice. So if someone who wants to do what you do, what softwares should they be learning and how should they be learning to improve their skills?
Software, I think, first, whatever you have like the best access to. I use like Premiere, Adobe Suite. But I've gone very into like Blender, Unreal, Cinema 4D, Touch Designer, DaVinci, like a wide variety of softwares. Again, if you're like a creative person who likes to do a lot of different creative mediums, you'll naturally want to learn all these different things.
Right.
So I think start on whatever feels easiest to you. I've met some phenomenal editors who started on CapCut.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's easy and it's accessible. And honestly, it's pretty great, right? Like I've used it a bunch too. I think you have to find what's best for you and then just make sure it works for you. Make sure the work you're doing is like good enough to warrant like upgrading to a new software, like paying for a software. And then once you pay for a software, I think it's also like an intrinsic kind of, oh, I'm paying for this thing. I need to get some money use out of it.
Yeah.
And that'll also like help your motivation.
Right. What are some things you did to accelerate your growth on, getting better at your skills?
Just time consuming a lot of different media. And one thing about me too is like a lot of the projects I was making when I was starting out, I never wanted them to feel similar. Like I wanted it to be like a very diverse, each project had like its own specific style. And that in turn will like lead you to want to learn all these different things. Like I made this promo for the USC UCLA basketball game like maybe a year and a half ago, like my sophomore year. And that was like a super different direction. It was like this very black and white dystopian like edit with like a lot of 3D and like a lot of very strange VFX that people wouldn't usually associate with basketball. But I had just seen a very similar video like 2 nights before. And I was already going in a very different direction with this other video. Yeah. But I got so inspired by this other video. I literally revamped the whole thing overnight. And then I changed the whole direction. And then I had to learn so much new Blender stuff just to make this video possible. But I knew that I was able to learn it, if that makes sense. Like I was always, in high school, I was like very academic. Like you have to be to get into USC, right?
Yeah.
But I think those kinds of like work ethic skills and like being willing to learn and like being excited to learn, like that'll all definitely translate.
Right. Dude, that's awesome. I mean, for you, what do you see yourself, doing 10 years later down the
10
line?
years later, not even the most remote, faint clue.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I would like to be able to start my own agency, commercial production agency, build a good roster, a team of like, I think starting out heavy in post-production would be great. Getting a team of like very talented post-producers, getting someone to organize it, and then kind of funneling projects through there. Right now, I do have a couple of people who I work with who like assist and edit for me sometimes, or I'll like be able to funnel smaller projects through. But I think building that into like an actual business will be a good step. But also, I don't know, I'd love to work somewhere too. I think working somewhere is like a great experience. I think it's a very, very good thing to learn how to work for someone, how to be very humble in that position, because like working for this label has given me like a lot of perspective on how people operate on that side. So I think I want to just continue working different places, meeting different people, working on a variety of projects.
Right.
That's awesome. And for our listeners who want to get to do what you do, what's one thing they can do today that can boost their career?
One thing they can do today, just make stuff, man. Like just pick up your camera. Like if you have an idea, like you have to make something. You're gonna have to be the one who brings it to life. Like I said, I never would have been able to imagine the stuff I get to do now. And whether it all started with like me literally running around like Orange County with my friends making Spec ads, telling them, hey, make sure you bring like some Nike clothes so we can shoot with that. I think if you have an idea and you think it's like really worth like pursuing, sit down and make it. Like put your time towards making it, and make sure you make it good. Right? Like don't make anything half-assed. Like watch it back like 5 times, 10 times, send it to like 50 different people, get their feedback. Incorporate what you want to incorporate, right? Stay with your vision, but always know that outside perspectives are very valuable. Be very humble with the way you move. Like make sure you don't have a big ego, but just start. Like literally just start making stuff. Make stuff, put it online, reach out to people you want to work with. And hope for the best.
That's beautifully said. And so from what I understand, like do you ever see yourself directing like narrative features, or is that?
I would like to. I used to be bigger onto that in high school. I think that's just not the mindset I'm in right now. And the thing is with these projects too, I have to be able to prioritize.
Right.
I can't really do as much personal stuff now because like my plate has gotten too full. But obviously good problems to have. But
absolutely, yeah.
But I would love to. I think once I start building more of like an independent running kind of company, I think I'll have more time to do more personal projects.
That's awesome, man.
Which will be fun.
Yeah, and something we do on this show is that the previous guests leave the current guest a question.
Okay, let's hear
it. The previous guest of this podcast asked, what is your favorite movie theater experience growing up?
My favorite movie theater experience growing up? I love the Irvine Spectrum Regal. Have you guys been there?
I've heard of it. I haven't been there yet.
It's one of the biggest IMAX screens.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I don't know if this is growing up, but it used to be a very classic, like it looked like a normal Edwards way back when I was growing up in Irvine. And then I think like during COVID, or maybe right before COVID, they did a whole remodel and like the whole thing looks like a space station on the inside now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
It's like insane. So I'll usually, anytime like I want to watch a movie in IMAX, I'll go down there. It's one of the largest ones in the US. It's like bigger than anyone in LA, I think, too. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's great. Love that place. Gotta go check it out.
Yeah.
40-minute drive. Shout out Irvine.
Well, sweet, man. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
No, thank you for having me.